if you have a story that hovers in and around Duluth, to not have Trampled in that
we would be personally offended by that.
Yeah. That's like not
Yeah.
mentioning hot dish if you're talking about Minnesota. Do you guys feel like that? Do you feel like Trampled is as ubiquitous as like a Juicy Lucy or a tater tot hot dish with
I will say in my day-to-day life, no, I don't think that, but people do say things like that to me sometimes, and I don't listen to our band. So for me, like I've lived here almost my whole life, and it's not part of my soundtrack at all.
You know, like how professional athletes will watch game film. You won't like, you know what? I need to go revisit that album from 2003.
I have no interest in improving at all.
This is the Outside Podcast with Patty O. In 1941, Swiss engineer Georges de Mestral was hunting in the Alps with his dog when he noticed something peculiar. Burrs. They were everywhere, stuck to his jacket, pants, hat. His pup was riddled with them. So he did the obvious. De Mestral picked the burrs off his clothes and pooch, examined them under a microscope, where he discovered their stickiness was due to teeny hooks and loops, which then inspired a question. Can I possibly recreate this? And that question dominated the next decade of De Mestral's life as he burrowed his creativity and intellect into every conceivable combination of natural and synthetic materials and sewing processes until one magical day, presto changeo, the world has Velcro. This is probably the most famous example of biomimicry, the imitation of nature's strategies to solve human design challenges. Now, a less well-known example, but a much more intriguing one, sorry, Dave Mestral, is the life and music of Dave Simonett, founder and lead singer of Trampled by Turtles. Dave grew up in Mankato, Minnesota, about 80 miles southwest of the Twin Cities at the confluence of the Minnesota and Blue Earth rivers. Like the rest of the state, winters there are bitterly cold. Summers are often hot and muggy. And is ever the Minnesotan way, Dave spent his youth loving that weather. No matter Mother Nature's temperament, Dave was in the woods. When he formed Trampled by Turtles in Duluth in 2003, Dave's lifelong connection to nature, hiking, skiing, fishing, combined in his music with other influences. His love of the in-your-face tempo of punk and grunge bands, and the songwriting of legendary fellow Minnesotan Bob Dylan. Today, Dave doesn't just hike, fish, ski, and hunt. He's an active conservationist for Minnesota's spectacular boundary waters. And that, along with inspiration drawn from the spacious and stark woods of northern Minnesota, is as integral to his music as his guitar. This was on full display for all of us who attended Outside Fest in Denver this past June. Dave's songwriting is a celebration of Minnesota, a state that's not always top of mind for those seeking outdoor adventure, but should be. Minnesota is beautiful and humble in a way that can softly influence a life with a striking impact. Maybe it's no Velcro, but after you hear Dave talk about his favorite Minnesotan locales, his music will stick with you all the same. First things first, burnt toast. What is your last humbling and or hilarious moment outside?
Well, it wasn't very hilarious to me at the time, but
yes, I like it already.
2 years ago, my son and actually a lot of our band and crew went to the Boundary Waters together for a little bonding. And on the way out, it was pouring rain, the miserable paddle, and we were almost done. We get all the way back to where all the trucks are. It had been a hell of a day. We're hugging, we made it.
Yeah.
And come to find out, I left a bag back at a portage 2 lakes ago. I almost left it there. But my son, who was 11 at the time, told me to stop being a baby and let's just get back in the boat and paddle back there and go get it. And honestly, one of the most proud moments I've had as a father. And it ended up being a blast. Sometimes things out there get so ridiculous that you just gotta laugh.
Yeah.
We were just getting dumped on, and it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds on open water in this little light canoe, and just getting blown all over hell. And we got back out of that, and I think he and I ended up being a lot closer after that little paddle. But I was not a happy character at the beginning of that, man.
Did you immediately take him to like the toy store or like go buy him a steak dinner or something?
We did go out to eat, yeah, but we also had like a 7-hour drive home, so pile that on the day. But we learn a lot, don't we?
All right, let's get into it. If somebody stopped you on the street and said like, hey, who are you? What do you like to do? Would you say outdoorsman? Would you say conservationist? Would you say hunter?
Yeah, I'd probably start with those, to be
Oh,
honest with you,
before musician.
well, it depends on what point in life I guess I'd be asked. I think right now at this point, even though music, it still takes up more of my time than anything else, my passions are split a little bit more equally nowadays. I mean, conservation, it's more of like a life's work, I feel like, with the people that I know that are in it. Less of a hobby than a lifestyle. And the older I get, the more I see the value in it, in the philosophy involved in it. Even just in my day-to-day, like earlier before we were talking, I was hiking my dogs in this little patch of woods near my house and just watching spring happen, and it's kind of my daily meditation to do something like that. Just really appreciating those little spaces that we have allowed to remain that way, and realizing that it's not out of the goodness of the hearts of the government or whatever that they're there. There's a lot of really passionate people that work for these things.
You are an outdoorsy guy. You were a scout as a kid. You grew up in Minnesota, which, though incredibly maligned, like the rest of the Midwest. What I know from my time living in Minnesota is that it is double stuffed with frothing outdoor folks and adventures. Duluth, where you formed Trampled by Turtles, is one of the most kick-ass outdoorsy towns in the country, albeit very much under the radar in a classic kind of unassuming Minnesotan way. What makes outdoor adventure in Minnesota unique and inspiring? Like, for example, I think here in the Rockies, right? You could say the Rockies are all about the opportunity to stand on top of the country at 14,000 feet. So what's Minnesota all about?
Well, the natural beauty here is not as obvious, and it's a little, I like to say humble, but it's not like it's of its own volition. It's just the way the land is. When I think of the outdoors here, and we do have several different landscapes, like, any state larger than, probably Rhode Island or whatever, but we have our prairies and our hardwood forests in the southern part of the state. And then the northern part's boreal and a lot of pine, birch, kind of reminiscent of maybe what people would think of as Maine. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different ways to experience all of these things, but it's not as obvious as driving to Aspen and looking out the door and just being slack-jawed all day. Yeah. It's a little more subtle than that.
The maroon bells are really showy.
What people think of here is lakes, and that's something we have a lot of. The Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, that's probably our crown jewel of an example of that landscape. Yeah. That's still left to be a wild place. It's pretty far out, and I'd put a sunrise there up against any sunrise anywhere.
I think a lot of people, when they think of the Midwest, they think of like cornfields, flat cornfields. And Minnesota, to me, is like rolling woods.
Yeah, it's not sparse.
Right. The Rust Belt runs through that northern part of the Midwest, and there's some crazy looking terrain. So do you think the unique thing about Minnesota or adventures in Minnesota is like the surprising nature of what people might think the Midwest is?
Yeah, I do think that. I mean, I still get surprised by it sometimes. I remember, and this isn't Minnesota, but I remember actually the first time that our band, 25 years ago, played in Iowa. And we played in this little northern Iowa town called Decorah. And it was my first exposure to what's considered the driftless area, if you've ever heard of that. And Minnesota has a chunk of that. The driftless is in reference to the glacial drift. The glaciers didn't make it into that area for whatever reason, so there's no glacial drift. So the landscape is kind of steep, and there's a lot of trout streams, hidden valleys. It almost looks like a small mountain range. Yeah. And so anyway, there's a lot of surprising landscapes here. You know how it is, you only have so much time, especially as an adult. You go to explore what you can. And in my last decade or so, I've been just trying to branch out more, within 100 miles of my house or something. And I still find such cool stuff everywhere. And I think there's a quality of being able to appreciate landscapes wherever you are, and try to, the old saying, bloom where you're planted, kind of. I enjoy looking for it.
The grass is green, not on the other side, but like
everywhere.
The grass is green where you water,
Yep. I love it here, but I love to explore. That illness or whatever gets cured by touring. I really enjoyed coming back from all those places to here, to clear my mind from all the busyness of a tour. That's about as much humanity as I can take. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to come back from a tour and then go to my house in the middle of LA, I might lose my mind. I love LA. I'll go out there for a weekend anytime, but I need some space. I don't like to boomerang between, super urban and then super rural. I kind of like to be able to move in between the two any day I want. And
Yeah.
I have that here. I live kind of right next to Minneapolis, which is, even Minneapolis is a bigger city that I probably choose to live in, if I was independently wealthy. I like winter, which half the stuff I like to do outside is when it's snowing. So it has that. That's a great place to raise a family. I could go on and on, really, but another life and another circumstance, I might have ended up somewhere else, and who knows. But for this one, this has been great.
Well, I'm glad that you said that you love winter. I love winter too.
Yeah.
Winter in Minnesota is a different animal altogether.
Yeah. It's a good time to write songs, isn't it?
Well, that's what I want to ask you about, because you've said that Minnesota, specifically I think northern Minnesota, winters have inspired your music. And the Midwest, in its unfair poo-pooedness from people outside of the Midwest, I think the bitter, cold winters has a lot to do with that. What do you think is the most unappreciated part of Minnesota winters?
Right, like unappreciated from an outside point of view? Or
Yes. What do you think is unappreciated from the outside, and then what
Yeah.
do you appreciate about it? Like I have done the Minnesota thing of like, you boil the water and you throw it up in the air and it turns into vapor. I've also done that with coffee, and it's just like this brown cloud. Like it works with hot coffee. It kind of looks like a turd cloud is like floating.
It's like a visualization of a fart.
Yes, exactly. It works though. Into vapor.
I'll try it next winter.
Yeah.
It gets dark at 4:30 here,
doubt.
and I crave my little writing studio and a guitar. And that's when my psyche wants to do it the most. And I try to honor that, there's lots I want to do outside in the winter too, but it's kind of a time like where you kind of give yourself the leniency to look inside and try to make something. That's what I've always used that time for. And it's maybe the thing I look forward to. I like to go ice fishing, but the thing I look forward to most about winter is writing. Not that long ago here, when winter was a time where everything just kind of stopped. You know what I mean? People just kind of tried to survive through the winter, and you probably didn't see anybody what we would call hunker down.
Yeah.
That's less the case now, but there's still that vibe. There's a kind of a quiet, for a lot of reasons. Nature's just quieter when it's cold. It feels a little bit of a slower pace. Conversely, here, summertime is so hectic, not just because of my job, but everybody kind of squeezes a lot of stuff into 3 months or 4 months. And, I'm always ready for it to be done when it's time for it to be done. But the pace of winter, in say January, is something that I've kind of become a little bit romantic about. And I think that's probably underappreciated.
Yeah.
For who knows why, but it's cold, but people that complain about being cold in the winter, just go inside. It's not that big of a deal. I get it. Like, if you want palm trees every day, I love them.
Sure.
I'm about to go see them this week, actually. But for me, I love that little windows of creativity.
Do you think that because of that, you are writing more like slower laments, or are you like writing dancier, more up-tempo tunes? Like I wish I kind of
overcorrect.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of stuff is more phase of life for me, or, reactions to creative whims. I think the weather in the wintertime will give me a space to do it, but I don't know if that's necessarily like, oh, I'm going to write sad songs because it's cold outside, or... That being said, look at reggae music and where that comes from. That's a lot of happy stuff. So maybe I'm completely wrong about that. I love locality in art like that. Like when you listen to, this band I really like called, I use these guys as an example because I think it's kind of obvious, but there's this band Calexico, right? And they're old buddies of ours, and they're from the Southwest, from Arizona. And you listen to that band, you're like, it sounds like the desert. I'm a real believer in the natural world around you fully affecting your art, and I hope to never lose that. And sometimes I get worried about that, like getting used to it too much and not letting it affect me. The first time you see something is like, whoa, and then the millionth time you see it, you can start to take things for granted. I hope that I can be some kind of a channel for whatever this area sounds like, you know?
Well, how do you make sure then that you are staying fresh-eyed on the terrain around you? Is there a practice that you do? Are you intentional around that?
Yeah, I am intentional around that. Like the place I was just hiking today, I've been I don't know how many hundreds of times. And this is like a little, 5-acre, 10-acre place maybe. I'm still in there looking around. And maybe it's something to do with just my personality. I don't know. But I do think that I could probably take a square mile and explore that for the rest of my life. If you look, there's so much going on everywhere.
Yeah.
I love to get out and explore new places. But there is something to becoming very familiar with a spot, which is a slow pace, that kind of mindset. I use it in, try to use it in music too, and not let it blow past me so fast, and go and explore little sections of stuff that maybe I overlook. And so I think it's up to you really, how much you want to find in something. It's almost an infinite well.
Does taking your kids out help that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite. We took our whole family up to the Boundary Waters back when, I don't remember how old the kids were, 6, 7, 8, like in that area. When you go do anything outside with kids, fishing, we've done a lot of that together too. If you take your kids fishing when they're 4, it's not like you're going fishing. You know what I mean?
You're
gonna
doing
fish,
like hook management.
Yeah, you're like, it's so active. It's not,
totally.
You're not sitting on the boat and just relaxing in the sunshine and catching a couple fish or whatever. It's like, it's a different gear. But there's something about watching a kid see a fish for their first time on their hook, or paddle across a lake where they don't see anybody for 4 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And seeing them connect with the natural world in their own headspace. I remember that as a kid. It's still very powerful for me. And, I think all of us want to pass something along. And once you have kids, it's kind of your natural instinct. I don't know if my daughter's going to do backcountry trips when she is an adult. I have no idea, but she will know how to. And she will also have had that quiet space in the natural world as part of her upbringing.
Is there a specific trip that you guys went on where you were like, oh man, this is like, my kids are little Buddhas?
I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, well, I will say that first Boundary Waters trip had a lot of challenges, right? First of all, it rained the entire time. We were there for 4 days and it never stopped raining. And the kids were little, With that rain came an incredible wind. And I don't know if anybody out there who's paddled Kevlar canoes that weigh about 30 pounds, on open water with a lot of wind, and the other person in your boat is paddling is 7 years old. It's a hell of a day,
No kidding.
Yeah. And I mean, to the point where it kind of wondering if we were going to go home.
Yeah, totally.
But we
totally.
didn't. And we got to a campsite. We set up. I try to have as much fun with the weather as possible. I knew it was going to be rough weather or whatever. So we brought a bunch of extra tarps and stuff. We made this big, indoor quote unquote kitchen. And they were just in their rain gear all day. And they were getting muddy and playing in the woods. And they had an amazing time. I guess what I was scared of is that they were going to not like it. And then they were never going to like it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially because it's like camping in the rain.
Yeah,
sucks.
And then the next time
so
camping, it does. And next time camping comes up, they're like, I didn't have that much fun.
I was wet and cold and sad. Why would I want to go camping again, Dad?
And I didn't have to worry about it. They didn't. It's like they didn't even notice it was raining. And we like to give our kids a lot of leeway, especially out in the woods. Like go off, have fun.
Yeah.
Check in every once in a while. Like I don't need to be hovering over you. And so they enjoy a level of independence in a place like that, which I think they really like, because it's not as easy sometimes to do that in a city. That was a really inspiring, as far as like watching kids out there. It made me remember that it's just weather, you know what I mean? They're not made of sugar, and they still like to be out there.
For the members of our listening audience who have not been exposed to the beauty of the Boundary Waters, give me your 30-second elevator pitch on the Boundary Waters to those who might be like, Minnesota, come on.
Right, it sounds buggy. Which it can
well, the
be.
mosquito.
Don't get me wrong.
The mosquito
Don't
is the state bird of Minnesota. I do know that.
You won't find any more of them than in the Boundary Waters if you go at a certain time of year.
No doubt there.
Boundary Waters is a little over 1 million acres of woods and mainly lakes, thousands, interconnected by portages. It's part of the Superior National Forest. It's named the Boundary Waters because it's on the boundary of Minnesota and Canada. You get a couple lakes into that wilderness, and you might as well be in 1849 or something. It gets pretty far out. And you can go deep as you want. There's moose, there's loons, I'll say this without recommending it because I do know people that have gotten sick doing it. But when I was young, a little bit of an initiation in that place was to paddle out to the middle of the lake and dip your cup in the lake and drink the cup of water.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's fine. I do a lot of work now on that place. If I'm going to spend my time involved in something that this is where I get the most meaning is in these places, so I'm going to work on protecting that.
Well, I know that you don't like labeling your music or boxing it into a specific genre, but
what is it?
but I will say, roots music, bluegrass, Americana, which Trampled by Turtles could fall under if someone were to box you guys in.
Yeah, if you wanted to limit us.
If you wanted to limit the band, you could. But those genres very often present a frenetic, dancey pace. They create a dirt-footed hootenanny. Like for instance, Wait So Long and Codeine. Those tunes of yours are incredibly frenetic and aggressive and overflowing with energy. Where does that edge come from, and does your time outside inspire it, ease it, do both?
I don't know. Both those songs you mentioned, Codeine and Wait So Long. Wait So Long is the newer one of those, and it's 15 years old. When I was younger, I had a lot of like punk rock left over, which when I was a teenager, that's kind of what I was into. And then it was a young man, it's like I had a lot of energy. I had like
angry young man music,
anger and like, you feel things real big and loud, and I did anyway.
Yes.
So it's been a while since I've written a song like that, to be honest with you. I'm really trying, especially in music, but generally in life for sure, music and as a husband, as a father, to grow older gracefully and not
softer. Does that mean softer?
Well, I think it just means being true to where you are at the time. If I were to try to write a song like Codeine now, I would be lying. I think it would be me trying to reach for something that's not there.
On the other end of the tempo spectrum, right, is a song like On My Way Back Home, which is slow, melodic lament, or a tune from your solo work like By the Light of the Moon. Like that song is just like a slow dance special. You put that thing on and you're like, I need to grab my gal and go to the middle of the dance floor. And we are going navel to navel and swaying. Or a song like Lutzen from Dead Man Winter, the indie rock band that you're in. That's nearly a 10-minute, beautiful and very mellow instrumental. So where does that energy come from?
That's easier for me to point at, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, especially that instrumental thing, because that was Lutzen is a little ski town in northern Minnesota on the North Shore of Lake Superior.
First place I skied in Minnesota where I did not hear my turn. Love Lutzen. Love
it's the closest
Lutzen.
we get to mountain skiing in the Midwest, I think.
I love it.
Maybe besides the UP of Michigan too. But anyway, I'd been spending a lot of time up there, and I mean, it's incredibly beautiful. I ski, so I was doing some skiing, but also just the area. The Lake Superior is incredible. It's kind of our version of an ocean up there with the same kind of gravitational pull on the people around it. And it's cold and it's harsh. And I was up there in January or something like that. I spent a lot of time up there that winter. And so you go down to the lake and it's like a nightmare sometimes. It's like if you could turn a nightmare into water. I mean, so many ships have sank in that nasty body of water. It reminds you real fast about where you are, in the pecking order of things out there. And at the same time, you might wake up the next morning and it's glass and the sun's coming up and it's 20 below. That Lutzen song was like that. That's what I was trying to kind of capture, is kind of comprehending where I was.
You sit on the board of Sportsmen for the Boundary Waters. Because of your love of this place, you are very active in your activism to protect it. And in 2024, in a blog post for the org, you wrote, "We talked a lot around the campfire about how unique and special the place is, and on a broader scale, how important wilderness areas are to the general well-being of all of us. There is an undeniable connection enjoyed in a place untroubled by concrete, indoor plumbing, and Wi-Fi. It may take a day or two, but once you settle into the rhythm of camp, time as we know it, segmented and worshipped, blends easily into itself, and the movement of the stars. Eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired. This simplicity, once taken for granted, is now a luxury that is becoming even harder to find. It is the rhythm of the animal that resides in every one of us. First of all, holy that is beautiful.
Thanks, man.
What is the rhythm of the outdoors?
My wife and I have a funny kind of ongoing conversation about time. There's two kinds of people when it comes to time. Either a clock time person or an event time person. A clock time person likes to be on time, in our way of understanding time, punctual. Their day is kind of ruled by the clock. And that's a lot of times that's me here. Like when I'm on my normal day. Chloe is an event time person. When this thing is done, I'll move on to the next thing. And whether or not that's exactly at 1 p.m., that's, it's not really, I can't really control that. To me, the rhythm of camp or the rhythm of being outdoors is fully event time. And maybe that's part of the reason why I like it so much, because I think there's a part of me that wants to be that way. But I was like raised to like, being late's like the worst thing you can do to somebody. You know what I mean? So I can't.
Very Midwestern trait. It's like you got to show up on time.
For me, that's the transition that I undergo. When I go into the Boundary Waters, for instance, I leave my phone in the truck. I don't care. I use the paper map. I don't want to see a clock the whole time I'm there. You wake up when it gets sunny, and you just kind of go by what your body wants to do. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're tired, you don't care what time it is. Like it's not, it's too early to go to bed. There's none of that. And I get so comfortable in that. And I have a really hard time coming back from it, to be honest.
So then how does the rhythm of camp or the rhythm of nature show up in your music?
Kind of technical music side of things. When you're talking about rhythm, my music is syncopated, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4, or sometimes 1, 2, 3, but I don't get too much farther out than that generally. There are people that do. But for me, I feel like when we're relegating something to counting in art, so our brains can kind of make sense of it. A tree doesn't count to 4 before it drops its leaves or whatever. They don't drop rhythmically. To me, if you look at it from the larger picture of a natural area, all of the little things and the little processes and little births and deaths and rain and whatever, there's a rhythm in that. And it's much more abstract than anything I could probably ever write. But I think if you spend enough time out in places like that, that rhythm is not as simple as counting off a song. It's the cycle, and that's what a song ultimately is. Rhythm cycles through a song. That's what we can dance to, because of the repetition of it. And that kind of stuff exists out there all the time. But there's a million of them happening at the same time, and they didn't all start at the same time. So it can be a little chaotic. It might be more of like a Vivaldi than Trampled by Turtles. But I like to think that a lot of my writing, especially, is influenced by that. And probably my search for finding a deeper understanding of it. I'm much less concerned with dinner reservations and gallery openings these days than I am about like finding a new trout fishing spot,
You go on to write in that piece, I believe we humans need wilderness. We need to know there's an edge out there that once crossed, you can be fully out. If you're like me, the city chases you there. Can you tell me a time outside when you felt that feeling of being fully out?
Most of my experiences, we keep circling back to the Boundary Waters. I swear to God, I have been other places than that, but it's such a
that's
spiritual.
Okay. If you're drawn to a place, you're drawn to a place. Yeah.
And I mean, these days, dude, I don't get a lot of blocks of time to do a lot of recreational travel. I will say that. So I guess I would think about a couple, something different than the Boundary Waters. I was pheasant hunting out in South Dakota a couple years ago. There's a lot of South Dakota that gets pretty far away from human civilization. I was kind of on my own for a couple days and camping out and hunting. I mean, I might as well have been in the Yukon, how I was feeling. And so that was one. And last fall, I have a little piece of land in northern Minnesota that's just like a chunk of woods. And a few friends of mine and I went up and kind of did a grouse camp there and just stayed for most of a week. And, lived it out of tents, and we were just wandering the Superior National Forest every day. And that's pretty far out up there, actually. There's a lot of woods, like as far as you want to go, man. And so that, like, experiences like that, I mean, it's almost like a reset for me. And I think for a lot of people, man, I mean, almost everybody I know that likes to go out and do whatever out there, whether you're bird hunting or rock climbing or whatever it is, it's seen as like I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like a break,
Yeah.
And it's not like it's easy. You go out there, and a lot of the times it's hard. Something that a lot of our lives lack is that physical kind of challenge in living. Something like
Mhm.
something that where you like, man, you're tired by 7 p.m. because you had such a
Yeah.
day. The lifestyle is a lot harder than our like a city lifestyle physically, and you're also much more exposed to weather and all these other physical dangers. Whereas in comparison, like from our ancestors to where I'm sitting right now, this is easy living.
Right. Yeah.
But for some reason, all we want to do is run away
Yeah.
from it all the time.
Yeah. How does that inform your songwriting?
I spent a lot of my earlier years like having to leave civilization kind of to go write. Like I would rent cabins in northern Minnesota or camping trips or whatever. That's what I would use as writing, like a writing retreats kind of thing. Because I feel like I couldn't get anything done with the noise. But I will say the older I've gotten, well, first of all, the harder it is to kind of get away to do that, especially with kids around. We all know I'm already gone half the time anyway,
Yeah.
But I've adapted more to writing anywhere. I actually love writing at the airport now, which you can find a noisier place than that.
That is wild to me.
I love it. Yeah, I can
Wow.
actually just like sit there and maybe, we all grow and change, and especially artistically. If I was writing songs in the same way as I was 20 years ago, I think I'd be disappointed in myself. I might not go to the woods to write as much, but I feel like it now features maybe more prominently in my writing, like that space. And maybe that's because I'm not immersed in it while I'm making a song. You know what I mean?
Is it like the yearning
I'm
for it,
longing
or
for
is
it.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have a very easy time writing literally in songs that much. So for me, it's a lot of imagery that I kind of conjure. But so much of my mental state is determined, I think, by natural landscapes. Those scenes and experiences in them are where I kind of find my spirituality, so to speak. And so they become maybe outsized in importance for not only just my livelihood, but for writing. I kind of wouldn't have it any other way.
In regard to your time outside, your conservation efforts, where and how you grew up in Minnesota, how you live there now, how you're raising your family there. If you were to take one of those things away, would it be like the Jenga tower? Like, I'm going to take the time outside away. Could you still write and perform the way that you do?
It's hard for me because I'm not really an objective observer. You know what I mean? I'm in here. So for me, it just all makes sense. It doesn't always make sense to everybody else. It sounds kind of like self-important or something, but to me, it's just little different parts of who I am. And I would just say that it would be probably different because I think that we're all a product of space and time right now, right? Like I'm a product of where I live, what's going on with me at this moment. 10 years ago, my product was a little different. And so you'd have to put me in somewhere real hard to escape for me not to find my space outdoors. Yeah. So when we were going out for weeks at a time when we were younger, I would make time for that. We'd take days off, obviously let everybody recoup a little bit in the middle of a run or something, and I'd go fishing. Or I'd find a place that's not that far out of whatever little town we were staying in and find a place to go for a walk and that. And make that a priority, Yeah. Nowadays, I actually I've sometimes use touring to find new places to hunt and fish, which has been great. Last summer and the year before that, we went out to Montana, and both of those times I ended up on some really great fly fishing days with some buddies out there. When I'm home, I wouldn't pop out to Montana and go fly fishing, sadly, because it's hard for me to get away, but I can use, the band's already booked flights to like see what's around. And so I've been
the
trying
greatest
to get a little more...
work boondoggle of all time is like here's the big deal out there, Trampled fans, is that
I'm just fishing.
It's not. Listen, the music is whatever, but really what I'm trying to do is land a giant rainbow.
Yeah.
When you step on stage, what do you hope you give the audience? What do you hope they feel in their time with you? And then what do you hope they feel when they leave and go back home?
Oh man, that's a
real
question.
Softball for you, Dave.
Lob it in there. Yeah. I think for me, I really just hope an audience feels like we did the best we could. And I don't mean that in a terribly self-depreciating manner. When you buy a concert ticket, for me, that as a performer and as a concert goer, all that really guarantees you is you get entrance into the building. So I would like people to know that we feel like it's an important thing, the best performance that we can muddle up that day. Now, as far as when they go home, I hope they thought that their time was well spent.
Do you think in part that you're giving a piece of you to the audience?
Not if I can help it. Depends how close they are to the stage, I guess. I can write 100 songs in this room and never play them for anybody. And they'd still be songs and they'd still be mine, but there's a interesting relationship that happens when you kind of open that up to the world, and I try to remain kind of mystified by that. It's scary and beautiful. For instance, our band's in the studio, we're making a song. It's our thing, and it's our thing. We mix it, still ours, master it, and it's this thing that didn't exist before, and now it does, and we're really excited about it. Mm-hmm. And then everything changes when you put it out. It's almost like you feel like you're going to get sick or something, because it is this peek into this. It's a private space for me anyway, writing songs. Why I choose to share it, I don't know, but I do enjoy that part of it. And I don't know if there's the tree falls in the forest kind of thing, whereas a song exists if nobody hears it. I don't know.
So the final ramble, one piece of gear you can't live without.
God, I think I would say a knife. You're talking about outdoor gear, I take it, because otherwise I'd probably say a guitar.
Ooh, a knife and a guitar?
No,
Aren't they the same thing, Dave? Best outdoor snack.
I mean, boring and old-fashioned, but beef jerky, man, I love it.
You're not the only one to say that. Yeah, dude, I love beef jerky. Do you do it yourself, or do you have like a gas station brand that you always go to?
Neither. There's a meat market not far from my house that I try to get to get it.
What a great Minnesotan answer. I got a jerky guy.
I got a jerky guy. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth the trip, man. You bypass the gas station and get it from the source.
What is your hottest outdoor hot take?
Public lands are there for us kind of as long as we want them to be. Everybody should get involved in the places that they love and don't stop being involved. It's kind of a symbiotic relationship. That land gives so much to us, and it's kind of our responsibility to give it back to them.
That's not even like a hot take. That's just like a very nice thing. That's like a heartfelt thing, Dave. Thank you. I feel like there needs to be a bumper sticker that it's like peak Minnesota. It's like Juicy Lucy, Tater Tot Hot Dish, Trampled by Turtles. Not necessarily in that order.
It's a lot of responsibility too. I don't know, but we'll take it.